This is Alan Green from Growth Company Multichannel. Now, I started a business in the early noughties. It was an IT business and we used server rooms. Today, of course, you wouldn't use server rooms, you'd use the cloud. Everyone's moving to the cloud. The growth in the cloud is well documented. Q4 last year, Amazon cloud revenues jumped 45%, while Microsoft's Azure offering jumped 98% in the same period. So, of course, everyone's moving to the cloud. Small companies are far more agile and can do this far more easily. But for large organizations, it poses a bit more of a challenge. The bigger the organization, of course, the bigger the risk. But there is a company based in Hampshire that has a solution to this. I'm speaking today to Richard Beckensall.
Hi.
Welcome, Richard. Richard is Sales Director for Fedr8, and he's going to talk to us today about their recently launched solution to the problem, better known as Green Rain.
Hi.
Hi there. So Richard, before we start, I understand Fedr8 have got a crowdfunding campaign currently running on Crowdcube. Can you tell us how that's going?
Yeah, so it started really well for us. We launched 6-7 days ago, so last week. I think we've got 20 days left. We're at 40% already, so a really strong start. Typically those things gain momentum towards the end of the raise. So yeah, we're really pleased, and hopefully we're going to hit our target of 400k.
That's good. That's great news. So back to Green Rain. I mean, this is fascinating. We've got all these organisations with all these legacy applications. So if you open your NatWest banking app, for instance, you trigger probably up to 50 applications. Some of them up to date, some of them old and new. So how does Green work? How does Green Rain work, and how will it convert those applications into the cloud?
So firstly, I think you need to talk about the legacy businesses out there. So technology has always been the cornerstone, the foundation for success for these large organisations. And if you look at technology now with cloud and the ability to consume it in many different ways, that barrier's kind of been removed, and that's why you've seen lots of new entrants to the market. That's why Amazon are doing so well, and the Airbnbs. So these large organisations, it's now about that race for agility. Because agility is going to be king in the future. All of their competitors haven't got the legacy estate, the huge teams, and are far more nimble. So that's the cornerstone as to why we're relevant to the new world. You then take a step further is, well, how do you address that? Right? How do you move these applications into this new world? And that's a challenge of scale because of the people involved, and it's a challenge of cost, again, because of the people involved. So automation is the only way that you reduce the people needed and reduce the cost involved with moving. And what Green Rain does is it understands all of the application, the DNA construct of an application. So you can ask questions of it that are relevant to that move. So how much is the cost of that based on the remediation effort, the change needed, what skills are going to be needed, and how quickly that can take place. And from there, you can start to address how you prioritise those applications and the decisions you make for them. Some may be too expensive to move, and you'll leave them exactly where they are. Some you'll want to move, but you'll want to transform at the same time. And we give insight to all of those different areas, so a customer can really make an informed decision. So
it's a machine learning application, as I understand. So can you tell us a bit about machine learning?
Yeah. So. It's an AI engine, I guess, is what you'd call it, and it does learn. And the particular skill of our engine, our machine, is it understands language. So we're not talking about the English language per se, we're talking about code language, so the things that applications are made up of. So what it is a static source code analysis engine. It reads the code like a human would, right? But far quicker and scales far more. It understands the context of the code, it understands relationships within it, it understands the patterns, and all of that's relevant to gain the accuracy of what the read is. And based on that, we give some analytics on some of the key decision things that are relevant for applications.
Okay, so all these large organisations, there's this race for agility and a race to transform their operations into a pure digital operation.
Yeah.
Surely there must be other competitors out there that are offering something like this to help these large organisations convert.
So there are other application analysis companies, but they're really focused on specifics. So they may be focused on application code quality, for instance, or efficiency. Because of the way we do our analysis, we're completely unique in the marketplace. Because we look at the DNA construct of the application as a whole, you can ask any question of it. So in the future, absolutely our roadmap is to look at those other areas. But currently the use case for what we do is focused around cloud, focused around legacy enterprise licensing and also containers. But there's no one else on the market that has a complete picture of an application. And we think that's really powerful, especially if you start teaming that data set that we generate with other data sets available to the organisations in question.
Okay, so for a guy in the street trying to understand how the process works, I mean, you've got, okay, you're enabling large corporates to accelerate their transformation towards a full digital fully digital operation. But for the guy in the street looking at that, it's
what does that mean?
What does it mean? Breaking down into simple layman's terms.
Yeah, so I'll use an analogy I used to my parents when I tried to explain to them what we did, because it is absolutely really complex, right? It's taken us 4 years of development to build this, and it's hard building an application that reads language like a human would, right? So the analogy I always use with those is that imagine trying to blueprint your house, right? You're looking to move that house to a new location. Imagine trying to blueprint all of the things that are relevant to doing that exercise. You're interested around the size of it. You're interested around the bricks, right? Because if you want to change anything, you want it to match at the new location. You're interested in its boundaries, other things that it touches, things that it shares. That's an incredibly complex challenge to do that. And if you look at how that relates to the business world, some of these organisations may have towns, cities worth of buildings that they're trying to move, all of different sizes, all of different complexities, and all with different meaning to them as a business. So it's an incredibly large challenge for them, and that's what we do. We blueprint all of those buildings, we blueprint an organisation's applications to give them understanding of how they're going to approach that task.
That's interesting. So some of these organisations with legacy applications could effectively have an old box sitting in a room with a wire connected to computer, which actually forms a major part of the operations. And if it were unplugged, the whole thing would come down like a pack of cards. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. So, often, actually, the use case that we get the most, and especially from the large organisations, is this application spaghetti, they call it, right? That it's so entwined, it's so entangled. Actually, unpicking that's incredibly valuable, because they want to start breaking that application, those platforms down into microservices, and use those services repeatably across an organisation. So, absolutely, that's a use case for us as well.
Okay. So. Just back to these organisations now, clearly they're large organisations, they have a large workforce. Could these companies not do it for themselves? Could they not bring all their guys in and do it themselves, working weekends and so on?
So if I give you an idea of what our customer set looks like, it's anyone with a large custom application set, and that could be anything from 100 up to many thousands. Some of the banks that we're dealing with have over 10,000 customised apps that are looking to transform and migrate. If you look at our partner community, they're looking to push through thousands of applications per month, because they're doing it on a grander scale. So their challenge is even bigger, because they're doing it with organisations where they really have no idea about the application at all. So there's huge risk involved with that. They could do it themselves, clearly, right? They understand their applications, but it all comes down to resource and how you want to utilise your resource. Some of the organisations we deal with will have 15, 20,000 developers. They're trying to reduce that cost, right? They're not looking to increase it.
Well, that answers the question straight away, because I mean, we know what IT contractors charge. So,
exactly that, and they're looking to reduce it. If you can look at any way to automate a process, that's looked upon favourably, and that's exactly what we do. And when you've got new entrants to the market, I said at the start, this is all about agility and moving at pace. So yes, they could do it themselves, but they haven't got the funds, they haven't got the people. They'd rather their people do kind of less menial work and focus on stuff that's really important. So we remove that need to blueprint the application and give a view of it.
Good. Okay, that's great. So you launched Green Rain in September. It's already won numerous industry awards and obviously caught the imagination of the industry. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's great technology, right?
Yeah.
There's, like I said earlier, there's nothing like it.
Great British technology.
Exactly that,
Yeah,
and there's nothing like it in the marketplace. It's completely unique, so that's a massive plus for us, and that's why the likes of Gartner and Forrester and IDC and alike are really interested in what we're doing, and we won a Gartner Award in 2016 for innovation for cloud technologies. We're pushing ahead. We've got 2 large global proof of concepts with 2 global outsourcers, so we're really pleased that they're underway. They're testing the technology, and
that was my next question. Actually, I was going to ask you about traction and how it was going in the marketplace.
Ah, okay, so absolutely. So we've got 2 of those. We're engaged with 2 large global banks. As I said, they've got many thousands of applications to move. So the technology's been proven now. They're seeing that it works, and it's all around kind of driving traction and scaling our business from a people perspective, and that's partly the reason for the raise. So we can, make as much of a success as these opportunities as we possibly can.
Okay. Well, Richard, we're running out of time. It's been fascinating talking to you. Wish you every success with the Crowdcube campaign. Will you please come back and update us later in the year and let us know how the Green Rain is progressing? It sounds fascinating.
Love to.
But remember that #GreenRain. Bye for now.